When the directions say that you need to graph an inequality, the problem is going to contain one of these 4 inequality symbols. Depending on which of the inequality symbols you have, you're going to use a different symbol on the graph when you graph the inequality on your number line. If the symbol says greater than, then on your graph, somewhere you're going to have half of a parenthesis and a line graphed to show everything greater than the number. If your inequality is less than, you're going to have the opposite half of the parenthesis and show everything less than that number. The difference between those two and the next two is the equal to part. The line underneath the inequality symbol says not only is it either less than or greater than, but it can also be equal to that value. What you're going to do instead is to create a bracket, which is a straight up and down line, instead of the parenthesis, and then show everything on that side. And the less than value is a similar bracket, opposite, and everything that direction. If you can keep these symbols straight, then all you have to do is accurately place the symbols on the numbers on your number line. Let's look at some examples. If my problem said to graph x is greater than 4, I would start with a number line. And you don't need too many numbers around. You need to obviously be graphing 4, so let's put a few more numbers around my 4 on my number line. Now, since it says greater than, I know I'm going to be using this symbol and drawing an arrow to the right for everything larger. It's this symbol that's going to go straight through the 4. So I'm going to put a parenthesis through the 4, and then I'm going to shade everything to the right of that line. I'm going to go ahead and shade my arrow too, to remind myself that this is going to go on forever and ever to the right. So a parenthesis through the 4 and an arrow to the right. If instead I had to graph x is less than a -2, this time I'm working on the negative side of my number line. So let's see, we would have 0 and then -1, -2, -3. If I want everything less than, I know it's this parenthesis that I'm going to be using and an arrow to the left. That parenthesis goes straight through my -2, arrow to the left, and shade in the arrow at the end to show everything that continues on in that direction. Let's do x is greater than or equal to -4. Again, starting with the number line, I'm down in the negative values. If I want everything larger than -4, I'm going to use the bracket and an arrow to the right. It's that bracket that goes through my -4 and then shade to the right. And last example, x is less than or equal to 9. This time I'm up here in the larger numbers, 8, 9, 10, and 11. This time with a less than, I'm going to use the opposite pointing direction, and since it's also equal to, I need the bracket. So put that bracket through your 9, and then shade everything smaller, including the arrow.